I mean, what else? I mean, here goes Palantir straight up to the upside. Welcome to the market recap show, man. Like I said, this is what it is, man. From that show to real, we're coming back here. These are real earnings out right now for PLTR. I don't know, something's happened over here. I can't even, all right. Yeah, go ahead, because this,
yeah,
I have to close trade ideas.
I don't know how I feel about these numbers here. We got the Q1 adjusted earnings per share, 8 cents versus the estimate of 8 cents, but the non-adjusted was a miss, so 4 cents versus 8 cents expected. Q1 revenue coming in here, this Q1 revenue was a beat. 634.3 mil versus 625.4 mil, so that was a beat. Outlook, though, the lower end was a miss, so 649 to 653 versus outlook of 653.2, so miss there for Q1 revenue outlook. Also just saying they're working to make AIP available to broader range of markets, and intention is to make the AI platform the most dominant infrastructure in the market. So nice talk, but they did miss, though, on that Q2 revenue outlook. I think that's worth noting. But they beat on Q1 revenue itself. Yeah, that's the Palantir numbers.
Just hearing that they're raising full year revenue right now. I don't know. I don't see anything out on Benzinga Pro. So I know Adara's reading some stuff. We'll wait to see what does come through right now for PLTR. But did I not save that? It should be. Oh, no, I don't think my thing is saved. All right. Take it over, Adara.
Oh, they raised their 2024 revenue forecast, okay, but they didn't raise their Q. They did, I don't know if they lowered their Q2 revenue forecast, but it came below the market expectation, I can say that. So looks like they did raise their 2024 forecast, though, and they have been discussing robust AI demand. So nice look there for PLTR. I'm going to see if there's any other numbers coming out here, but from what I am seeing, what else here? Outlook? Yeah, so the Outlook full year adjusted income is they're saying 868 million to 880 million. So that's where we had the increase there. They also said that they anticipate their U.S. commercial, so specifically in terms of revenue, they're saying the U.S. commercial revenue. U.S. commercial business will remain one of the most significant drivers of our growth in the near term. So that's really what I'm seeing here. They did have, though, it's not saying that they lowered it, but it is, from what I can see, coming in lower than expected. Their Q2, specifically just Q2 revenue, from what I am seeing here. But yeah, I mean, let's see how the market's reacting to this, because I think generally pretty positively. I know this was a very hotly anticipated earnings report. We'll have to wait and see what Alex Karp has to say here. Let's see what we have here in Palantir. Oh, that's the...
We have Lucid coming out.
We have Lucid as well, supposed to be coming at 405. Yeah, so Palantir, nice move up here for PLTR. Let's see what we have here on LCID and what they have to give us. Yeah, not seeing anything yet. That one is also supposed to come at 405. So Palantir's coming in here a little bit earlier. Right now, up 13% from opening today. So nice move up here. Nice pushes up. New volume high candles on the day, other than the stuff we got at 9:30 this morning. So yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see what we do here. Pulling back a little bit, initially up 13%, now up 11, 12. So a little bit of a drop. We're gonna have to wait and see how the market digests these numbers.
Yeah, a little nice 2024 GAAP EPS. We should be good to go on that board now of 8 cents in line. And then, of course, sales, as we talked about, beating as well for that. So a nice little upside move there for PLTR, as we'll continue to watch out to see where that one goes. But today was a very, very interesting day. And thank you for all for watching. There goes $26. Let me just look at the daily chart. As Adara broke down some of the moves there on Palantir, we're still looking to extend past 27 right now on PLTR. So that's another one. We are getting now Simon Property Group, a name that I like, that we've gotten out of. We're not huge in this name anymore, but nice move up for SPG. This was one that I actually bought during COVID. I kind of like the dividend yield there, 5.5%. It was higher actually during COVID. They had to scale that back, but SPG again, nice high quality mall. Daryl, if you're here, Daryl, I remember you and I were buying this one down there, so we could definitely have a validity check on that as real sees real. So shout out to you there, Daryl, as well. Simon Property Group right now up 2.9% and trying to go. We'll get those numbers when they are out for you.
Lucid beat.
Lucid's out?
Lucid beat, yeah,
What?
they beat revenue.
Why is it not moving?
172.7 million versus 157 million expected. So they did beat in revenue. They had a slightly larger loss per share than expected, though. 30-cent loss per share versus 25-cent loss per share expected. They delivered 1,967 vehicles in the quarter and produced 1,728 vehicles for the quarter. Let's see what other numbers we're getting out here. So they did have a larger loss per share than expected. That's the big loss here, but they did beat on revenue, saying that their CapEx for 2024, 1.5 billion, so that's pretty significant. They're also saying here that they're going to, quote, continue to make significant progress on our cost optimization programs. That CapEx, though, not great. $1.5 billion in CapEx projections for 2024, says Lucid. So
all right, yeah, Lucid continues to go down. Here's the Palantir number 2 as well. Right now, Lucid down to 295, but that's kind of like as expected. It's not moving around like crazy or anything like that, but that is Lucid right now. Palantir actually pretty disappointing, let's be perfectly honest with you. You know, we were expecting a 14 or so percent. Oh, we had that written down there, Adara, you and I. You wrote that down. What was it, 14%? Let me just double check what that move was expected to be.
I think it was 16.
16, that high, eh? Okay. 14.8%.
Oh, never mind. I was very wrong. Sorry.
No, you're not very wrong. That's close enough. Right there. But here comes to the downside. So a 14% move on $25. We're expecting a $3 plus move on Palantir. Not a $0 move. But here comes Palantir right now, back down to the downside. And I just want to talk about one thing that just hit on Palantir was right here. Sees Q2 revenue between 649 to 653, which is pretty much lower, as you had mentioned.
That was the one thing.
There, Adara, on that. That's Q2. But they do see forward year lower as well. So actually, we may have to change our tune here on Palantir as they finally report little more aggressive numbers. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, I mean, if they don't hit those levels, they don't hit those levels. But that's what upgrades and downgrades and price targets are based on.
That's a good point.
So I could see them getting downgraded tomorrow based on a miss on revenue for PLTR. We did have Michael Noss on. We did have Daniel Shea on. We talked about, I think, did we talk about Palantir this morning with Michael Noss? He could nod if we did. I'm not sure if we did or not. But
he nodded.
He nodded. Okay,
yeah.
So let's talk to Michael today about Palantir and the fact that it's not moving. So nice move there for PLTR. We'll see if we can expect anything else out of that report. Often, when you get a huge move like I feel like we did there in PLTR heading into the report, Adara, like look at this move on the daily. We just went up 20-something% into $25. A lot of the time, you're going to get maybe potential weak hand shaken out. Let's see what happens. Good move to the upside there for PLTR on the day, but pulling back in here on the after earnings. The next name, again, Lucid. Another one there. Shout out to Michael when we look at our, where's average day to cover? It should be up here somewhere. But these guys do have a short float that isn't that bad. Here it is. Go over here to Lucid Group right there. Where's the short float? Oh, actually, it's not listed here for Lucid. So we'll find out. They're going to get that updated.
I'm seeing 1160. But I'm not seeing that in TradingView, though.
11%.
Or Trade Ideas. Yeah, I'm seeing 11.6%.
Okay, well, that's good. So 11.6% short. But again, in a name that does millions of shares a day, right there, 43 million shares. So 11% short on the total float. Downside right now for Lucid. After that, yeah, soft. So there it is, trading lower following soft revenue guidance is PLTR. So in line today comes Palantir, but definitely soft on everything else. Let me just show you this quickly here as we'll go over some names that might have been moving. Let's do a quick little sector recap because we already have Palantir and Lucid. A lot of big trades coming later on this week. Uber, Shopify coming, Adara.
Yeah.
Disney coming. We know we love Disney, and that's another name we've talked to Michael about, Disney coming through. But let's just look at a couple names here today. Microsoft up 1.69%. Amazon, an absolute monster, continues to go. We definitely had this one, but the major indices continue building off of Friday's strength. You know, hopeful rate cuts coming at the end of this year. We'll see if that gets tampered at all by Fed's Barkin, who today started barking about inflation data being disappointing. We know that. Stop telling us things we know. Right now, the real estate sector, as we've talked about that, right, where was it? The real estate sector. It was one of the hot ones today, XLRE. I saw it on here coming through. Anyways, let me just call it up for you, XLRE. The real estate, there it is right there. Nice move today. Although it's not showing it right here, we did have a nice move. Even the home builders today moving nicely to the upside. So that was something that we talked about a little bit as rates come back into play. Technology led by an upgraded Micron. I mean, what a nice move for Micron there today, up 4 and a bit. Check these guys on the daily, gapping higher there on a nice upgrade for Micron. And then earnings season continues as we look for continued moves tomorrow with both Lucid and Palantir. But as you know, as we continue to look for these moves, it doesn't look like we're going to have to get them, or we're going to get them at all, because Palantir is still, you know what, I must have to update this, because you see how this, I can't even click the time difference here, but there it is right there. Let's go over to a 5-minute chart just to see Palantir. We nailed 24 long early, but now you're starting to break a lot lower on PLTR. So let me just swap this over and have a quick look. 50 period moving average, 23 and change. If we drop an anchor, shout out to Brian Shannon, who'll be here tomorrow, at sort of this gapped bottom right there, you can see we're right here right now, man. $23 is that anchored VWAP drop from that gap bottom. So that's something to look at for Palantir. Is there anything maybe we're missing? Anything come across the newswire that you've seen, Adara?
I mean, we got the Simon Property Group, which I know you're involved in, and they had a nice little beat here. So from what I can tell, they do their numbers on a year-over-year basis, but they did have an increase year-over-year from 274 last year to 356 for earnings per share. Sales 1.44 billion versus the estimate of 1.29 billion. So that's a nice look, honestly, for Simon Property, up about 2.5%. Hims and Hers, which is pretty heavily shorted, also did pretty well here. So give me a moment to pull up that chart. HIMS market reacting positively to this one, up about 14%. They did sell off a little bit last week, so there was, I think, room to run versus Palantir, which had that move up into earnings. Yeah, so beat across the board here for Hims and Hers. 0.5 5-cent EPS versus 2-cent expected, and then also a beat here for sales. Higher than expected Q2 24 revenue and also full year 2024 revenue. So HIMS beating across the board here, guys.
Yeah, a good little look there. And yeah, Simon Property Group holding that 146.50 there to the upside. ARC today. And again, a shout out to Trade Ideas. We are going to have Michael Noss on. You can hit tradertv.live to subscribe and get everything. Any product you like at Trade Ideas, tradertv20 will get you that. Scan that QR code right there and grab that 20% off. Yeah, Michael's created this for me, man. These are basically the sectors that are outperforming today, the S&P. So generally here, SLV today up 3.5%. Nice move for silver. You know what? Let's flip over to the daily just to have a quick look. So trying to break out back again. Nice bottom there, coming back into $24. I'm assuming, I'll just type in GLD. I don't see it on there, but GLD up 1%, so it's in here as well. There it is right there. Gold, again, starting to bounce back up. We did have a nice day, I think, at the end of it all for IBIT. Again, up 1.69%. That'll be off of Friday's close. We did have a high of 65.5 in Bitcoin, but IBIT still holding as well. Berk, although not an ETF, could be considered that as they drop their earnings on Saturday. And again, holding out pretty good here as, again, Apple. They'll go as Apple goes. And then again, insurance and some financials involved with Berkshire Wells Fargo in that name, as well as a lot of you know Occidental on the energy side for that. And then, of course, the negative name, and we actually hit this right at the end of the day. What exactly was that story? The DEA for MSOS came out there for marijuana. Yeah. And sort of said, hold our horses on getting all of this approved. I believe the story was something like that,
yeah.
Adara.
So I want to clarify, not confirmed.
Yeah.
Not confirmed. It's one of those things that floats around on Twitter, and we've had this quite a lot, specifically with MSOS. But basically, Newsweek, and again, I can't even confirm that Newsweek reported this, but they're basically saying that Newsweek is saying that one of the administrators or one of the head administrators there of the DEA is not voting in favor of that MSOS or that bill for marijuana that would help lower it down in terms of the schedule. So that comes out around 350 around when the imbalances come out, right, and MSOS falls to the downside. That's what I'm seeing. Again, not seeing any confirmation on that as of right now. All
right, so good little trade there at the end of the day on MSOS as we heard that news, then we broke that. We also got end of day news on Boeing as well, and man, did we ever hit this one as well. We'll just wait for our software to load up here, and I can show you, and then we're going to call Michael Noss. We're not going to make him wait too long. I was hoping that it's loading data. The problem is charts might, okay, here they come up. I was gonna say, sometimes they go down there. Oh, NVIDIA does go, nice little move back up there for NVIDIA. Here at Real Trading, we will turn the chart server off, so sometimes the charts won't work, which is why we will always go back over to trade ideas. But there's the short here for Boeing that happened. Boom, what a good move that was. Yeah, thanks, Adira. Immediately to the downside there.
I'm just looking at how
nice
bought
compliment.
that off like that free market area. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, I appreciate all that. That means a lot. That's Boeing for sure to the downside. And then the other one there I want to go over before we bring on Michael Noss. This was MSOS, just because they're two breaking news stories. And again, have it in your toolbox. Michael's going to come on here and go, breaking news, schmaking news, because unless it's actually schmaking news. That's weird. Yeah.
I liked it.
No, because again, your style of trade, right?
Yeah.
Like, Michael will look at, and he's going to talk about this, looks at the beginning of the week, the end of the week, maybe opening candles, closing candles. Sometimes stories that happen midday aren't overly affecting his underlying position. But why hear from me when we can hear directly from the horse's mouth? And what a handsome man it is. It's Michael Noss. Let's bring him in. I got it. Hi, Michael. How are you?
How's it going, Shawn?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. I don't know if you could tell I'm in pretty good mood today. We actually wound up going 8 for 9 today on our trades, which was a pretty decent day for us. So we're pretty happy. Showed a couple great.
Congrats, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. We did see some news, though, coming at the end of the day on a Boeing and on an MSOS. And I want to thank you for creating this ticker for me, because it's showing us that MSOS was the most hit sector today, marijuana. And I just want to clarify something. When I was talking about potentially, that's still Boeing, but here's MSOS right here. Nice downside move. I think I'm correct by saying that, right? Your style of trading, although you'll look at a macro level of, can we go back to Michael here just so I can talk to him? There you go. You'll look at stocks, but how would a story like that maybe breaking at the end of the day, does that affect sort of how you may look to trade in MSOS or maybe any current positions that you're still in?
Not unless any stops I had outstanding were hit. You guys were even mentioning, hey, this is unconfirmed. We can't verify this. You can't, we don't know anything about it. So it's one of those that, yes, it moved the whole sector, but unless I was in something and the stop was hit, then I'm not going to take action on that personally, because I don't know how many times I've seen, especially it seems particular in the marijuana sector, a piece of news comes out, quote unquote news comes out, and then you fast forward 5-10 minutes later and that's not true, and the price is right back up. So this is why Charles Dow, one of the creators of technical analysis, like 100 years ago, who created the Dow Jones Industrial Average and all that, always says the closing price is the most important. So I'll look at the close today, I'll look at the close tomorrow, and see if that news kind of got washed out or if it's legit.
And I wonder if sometimes news like that, and if you don't mind, Michael, I know you have a lot of things to talk about. We're going to get to that. Can I ask you quickly about a Canadian bank that's been under fire lately, and it's TD Bank. So again, they were money laundering. There's a story about fentanyl and all of this. It's come to light. I don't know if they've defended it or not, but at the end of the day, TD Bank is getting clocked. If you come over to my screen right here, you're back into some of these bottoms that we made back in basically last year at this time. I mean, even, this is January, February, March down there. Then, of course, the October bottoms, some stocks are revisiting those bottoms. But again, to me, this looks like it's breaking down pretty bad right now. Banks aren't really necessarily performing that well in Canada in general at these levels. To me, I like the short, even at these levels. Am I thinking a little bit off base here? Do we wait for maybe 57, 58 or so up there to come back in? Of course, the Toronto Dominion Bank, a Canadian bank, but the prices we're looking at right now are US. What do you think about TD Bank, and how does that chart look to you?
Yeah, well, it's funny that, you showed it there and I have it up here as well. There's a technical analysis saying that news generally will follow the direction of the trend. And bad news coming out recently, and this being an incredibly underperforming asset in the financial field to technicians like me doesn't really shock anything. And I can look at that by just telling the viewers to keep an eye on this chart right here. And if we go to the XLF, which is the overall sectors when it comes to financials, that has been doing great. Some of these names like Wells Fargo have been doing amazing. Call it what you will, call it people who know better, know that something's going on, or whisper numbers or whatever. But TD was dramatically underperforming every other financial out there for a very long period of time, even before this happened. So it doesn't shock me. And then I just drew out the pattern here. It looks like we have a descending triangle going on here. So I think the trade is it's pretty simple if you want to short this. And I like that idea because it is so dramatically relatively weak to the rest of the market. Is you could short on a break of today and yesterday's low. And then if we get back into that triangle, or at absolute worst case, if we break this downtrend line, that's your out. It looks like a pretty interesting trade, especially if there is some sort of news catalyst that's pushing it along. But again, for me, you just focus, you say, hey, for some reason, for now about a year, this has been dramatically underperforming the rest of the banks. There probably is a reason why.
Hi, Michael. I was wondering if you have any thoughts on Palantir coming off of earnings. We had that really nice run up into earnings, especially including today, and then falling off after we got weaker than expected Q2 guidance. I was wondering if, based on all of these moves, that you have any reads on this stock heading forward.
I think I heard Shawn say this when I was in the green room, and it makes perfect sense to me. When you have stocks that run up like this into earnings, you can see from 20 to 25. And I know me and Shawn were talking about it down here around 20 at the low of the gap. You had this move, the run up from 20 to 25 into an event like that, then it looks like it's reversing now. That to me makes way more sense because everybody has been front running this move. You'll hear people on CNBC say pricing to perfection or something like that, whatever you want to call it again. But people buying into the move, then when I see that, I'm like, well, whatever they announce has to be amazing because the market is already expecting it to be great. And this could create what we call a pro gap. So I was on this morning and I was talking about Avis budget right here back when it was at 213, 214 because of the large short float. And I gave a whole reason why I was interested in short float, but I actually called this one pro gap. And this is something that my buddy Steve, who I know was on when I was away, talks about all the time. If you have a move preceding a gap in one direction, and then all of a sudden, whatever that fundamental is, shifts that the other way, well, at least for short-term participants, you got them offside, and they're going to have to get out of that position one way or the other. So we saw a nice, 3 or 4% move today on this one. I would bet I'd be worried about something like Palantir tomorrow if we do hold these lows. It means everyone that got really hyped into the earnings is disappointed. You may have some people coming in to sell that one.
All right. We don't like to hear negativity about Palantir, but I agree with you. I think that run up was decent there into that print, and now I'm still waiting for that S&P 500 inclusion. That's another story, Michael. That if we don't get that, then that is another negative catalyst for sure, hitting PLTR, Palantir. All right. So
just on that note, quite often there's been some studies done that once something actually gets into the index,
right,
that can also generally be a sell the news event as well, right? So you got to be careful that, the lead up into that, just like the lead up into something like earnings, that might be the play. And when they're in the S&P 500, then again, that might be the sell the news top or something like that. I forget the stats, but there has been studies done on that before.
I mean, this is the thing about why our show's the best and why we have the great guests like yourself, because look at this. You mentioned it, and you know what comes to my mind immediately? It's Uber, and that's exactly what happened right here. This is the inclusion day. Uber at the end of December, bang, right back into the downside right there as we sell off into January come through. So Uber did have a little bit of a dip by before absolutely exploding to the upside. But yes, a sell the event. And we also saw that on Tesla and a few other things. You know what, Michael? Actually, I'm surprised here that Uber's come all the way back up. I was a little nervous about the robo-taxis and all that, but maybe there's something there with Uber. Okay, you mentioned starting the week off with looking at opening candles and things like that. Was there anything that maybe caught your eye or any sort of note that maybe I can bookend you? If you're not busy on Friday, maybe I'll have you back in on Friday and we can have a look.
Sure.
to see if anything hit. So was there anything that maybe caught your eye early? I saw GameStop moving around, but I'll open the floor up to you. What is interesting to Michael Noss after one day of trade here this week?
So on my screen here, this is the new layout that I've been playing with a bit, where I'm looking at the S&P 500 names up and down. Just looking at the big guys, because for the last couple years anyway, that's been the place to play. IWM, small caps not going anywhere, mid caps, MDY a little bit better, but the large caps have just been the place you have to play to get that kind of move. And this layout that I've built is doing a pretty good job of telling me themes when I bring it up. So,
Right.
for example, on up we have SMCI here. I see MU. This is one I talked about, I believe, on Friday. A lot of risk on type names. There's Uber that we were just talking about a second ago. So a lot of these risk on type names. And then over on the other side, stuff that they were selling, I see Kraft Heinz and Lululemon, a lot of more retail, Monster Energy drinks
Right.
there, a lot of retail names. So I don't know, one day may be a little bit too soon to gauge, but if we take a look at something like ARC,
Oh no.
had a pretty decent day, and then Burke B, BRK, and this is why I have this on this ETF list that you have there, Shawn.
Yep.
Underperforming a little bit in recent days. So I wonder if we're seeing a risk on shift again, which after we had this big pullback in the market is what you would want to see if this is going to continue and smash through these highs. So, I need more data, but it looks like we may be going back into a little bit of risk on mode. And if we're still in that risk on mode when we reach these highs, it's potential that we could just smoke right through.
All right, thank you, Mr. Michael Noss. And I'll tell you, I won't mention to Brian Shannon, of course, about a potential long in ARC, because Brian and I go back and forth, and I know you're just talking about a trade, but
Yeah.
he is not a big fan of those holdings there in ARC. One more, if you don't mind, because we always get questions about it on our show. It's Carvana, CVNA. You mentioned this today, which I think you nailed it perfectly. I want to thank you for bringing it to my attention as well. The days to cover aspect here, we do have a 30% short float with almost 4 on the days to cover, which is pretty significant. I mean, you brought us some examples that were much higher than that one. But even today, Carvana just continues to, this just looks like, come over to my screen here. This is like some sort of like either a doji star that's about to absolutely, sink this stock down in a little bit of an lonely islands up here. But I don't know. Those probably aren't the right technical frames for this. But it looks like Carvana is just chilling out all by itself. And whenever I see something like this with a short flow like that, I always think this. Coming back in. Are we crazy about that for Carvana? Do we have to let this settle down? And I know we're kind of beating a dead horse. You've talked about this a lot, but there continues to be a lot of interest around the name for Carvana. For me, I'm going to look for a pullback short, but maybe the longs aren't done. Any opinions?
I wouldn't hold a short overnight personally, and I know that you don't do that either, especially in this name, because what you mentioned with a 30% short float.
Yeah.
If some bit of news comes out that's great, this could absolutely explode. But yeah, you always have to look at where the stock came from. So right here, we're talking $75 up to 130 in a very short period of time. That's pretty wild. And you were right; it's a evening star play that may be setting up here. So for those who don't know if it's a technical term, an evening star has some sort of a doji or topping type candle.
Kind of.
And then if the next day is follow through to the downside, it is a pretty high probability reversal play. Now, again, this thing has gone from like, a buck to bankruptcy, right? All the way to $123. So it's not something that I would step in front of, but that may give us a chance to pull back a little bit into this gap. We have this massive gap that's unfilled. It broke right through that $91 share area everyone was looking at. If we start to see a pullback in that area, that's what I'm going to watch for a potential buy on this name. It's a little bit extended here, but you got to think there's a whole bunch of people who may have missed the boat or those shorts. And you got to think, if you were short the stock at $90 and it gaps up to 130, if it starts to get back to that $90 a share level, you're probably going to be interested in just getting out of that position and moving on. So I think there's still a lot of long catalysts and trapped people in this trade. I just think we need to get a better price and we need to get some sort of a pullback just so we have a place to put our stop loss.
Yeah, I like when you talk about that, the risk management. It's all about that, and I agree. That hold overnight on anything that's a short float can get pretty nasty. It's Michael Noss. Where can they find you?
Just Google Michael Noss CMT. I'm all over the place.
I mean,
and I'll probably be back here soon.
Is that not the best answer? Just Google my name?
Yeah,
Like, just put on the crown there, Michael Noss. Thank you so much. It's Michael Noss from Trade Ideas at Michael Noss CMT on X. Great way to get a hold of him. And Michael, I'm just going to ask you live on the show. Can you send me that scanner that you just had of all those names that were overperforming and underperforming? Because that would be absolutely amazing. And I'm going to show it on the show tomorrow as we search for, yeah, that one right there,
right
exactly.
There. Absolutely.
Perfect. And I'm going to show it tomorrow and give you all the credit. Michael Noss, Trader TV 20. Use that code and let's go trade ideas. Thank you, Mr. Noss.
Talk to you guys soon.
Take care. That's Trader Talk. I honestly, Adara, I know you're new to all this. You've been live now for 4 weeks. It honestly is about like building that community, and the fact that Michael can show something like that and then be able to send it right over, get the data from Trade Ideas. It's such a well-oiled machine. Like, he comes up with an idea and we can instantly start to look at that tomorrow. And I just think that that's where we build the sticky note. Because I come in every day and I look for relative strength and weakness. We look for names that we like and we look for levels that we like. If this can, in the middle of the day, give me some kind of sticky note ideas. What is strong? What is weak? We are both strong.
Yep.
And so is Trader TV Live. What was a good play today? Thank you so much for that. We're going to go to the next topic real quick. Forget about my tweets. Next topic. All right, sticky note. Today on this, does that say sticky goat?
Sticky no way.
Oh, sticky noet? Okay, hold on a second. I'll fix that. I was like, what does that even say? Sticky note goat. I like that. Oh, I was thinking about drinking that Monet, Moe.
Oh, Moe.
We're not drinking Monet. Yeah, Moe. Yeah, Monet. We're not.
Moe.
You just talked about Starry Night. So
yeah, let's go.
That's what I mean. Now we're talking about art again. All right, we wrote down, and I didn't log in today over here to X, but we wrote down Amazon that we really liked for the long. And again, this goes back to what I was talking about with Michael Noss. We had, by the way, roll calls coming up, so let's just hit this real quick. Get ready for roll call. We'll say your names. 185 dip buy opportunity for that. Bang to the upside, 186.50. Then we also wrote down on our sticky note that we liked 188 long. That was a big trade for us as well. So there it is, man. Great show, great day. We were 8 for 9 trading today, so that was a good day for us. We're really happy. Ended it with a good trade on MSOS, a good trade on Boeing, and a monster trade at the end of the day on Amazon. And to be honest with you, Adara, I left that order in. That 188 was from 8:30 this morning.
Wow.
And when it filled, it actually took me by surprise, which is why we have a bunch of outs, and then it popped up. Because I was like, oh my God, do we want it?
Yeah, it's like.
So you see here, we have a couple outs. We actually have 2 ins, a couple outs, and then the blow up there. Here, I can even zoom in at the end of the day. See that?
Yeah.
So in and out, and I was like, nah, basically expletive this. We like it. And then we wound up taking it, and that was that. All right, who's here for roll call? Let's do it one more time, and then we out of here, baby. I gotta pick my kid up. He's golfing till 6:30, so that should be real fun. What's up to Aaron, Scott, Matthew, Shawn, the transition canteen? I like that. What's up to Finch Jane? What's up to Andrew Chow, Rivian Millionaire? What's up? I like that. We saw that in the chat. Rivian Millionaire. Oh, it was Lucid Millionaire, actually, I think it was. Oh, no, it was Rivian Millionaire. Oh, what's up to Josh? What's up to Stupid Bitcoin? I like Bitcoin. What's up to Alex Davis, Andrew Chow, Oscar Plays, Lava, Hugh, Take Profit, Marie L, and Josh again. So thank you to all the 2,000 that are still hanging with us.
Wow.
Actually, I lied. 2,700.
I mean, that's all. Thank you guys so much for being here. That's awesome.
Oh my God, my wife, blush. See, whenever I see this on the chat right here, kiss. I'm like, oh, damn. But then when I see her, it's all good.
Yeah,
so shout out to that. What's up to my lovely wife? Thank you so much for watching and probably tracking me on Apple. Oh, yeah, no, just joking. Thank you so much for watching. That's Miss A.
It is. Hi, guys.
I can call you that. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Okay.
Cool with Miss A.
I'm going to just make up random names. Like I said, the Egyptian Nightmare over there. We've got Fabian, Ramin, Miss A. I got to think of one for Neil. I'm just always like, yo, what's up, Neil?
I mean, even to be fair, even Sharif's nickname for Neil is The Neil.
The Neil.
So
yeah, that's not that
really
creative, is it?
struggle
We're
to
going to have to come up with one for him. And then Brendan is just Brendo. Like, I'm always like, let's just throw it to Brendo. Like, Brendo's Brendo.
You just cut off the A.
My kids call Brendan Brendo.
I saw that in the podcast. You were like, oh, I think they think your name is Brendo.
Yeah, because my daughter was in there. She's like, oh, hey, Brendo. And that was really cute, so shout out to that. Oh, and a shout out, we got $20 super chat for Starbucks. So hopefully tomorrow we can make a little bit of a run
Okay.
to Starbies.
I would not.
We might need another 20 though.
I was gonna say,
how many people
I
are?
feel like my order's extra. I don't know how order. I mean, I will de-extra my order. But
Yeah,
guys,
well-
thank you so much for the super chat.
Yeah, that's
everybody.
what it's all about.
awesome.
What's up, Alex Davis got married last week. Sorry to hear that. But no, honestly, no, it's going to be the best decision you ever made if you are very similar to me. All right, thank you so much. It's Trader TV Live. We're back tomorrow at 8:30. Hey, man, I think this is the best show that we have, but we have a decent one coming tomorrow at 8:30. Plus, second is probably the midday show, and then me and Neil will sort of bookend that. So we'll see everybody tomorrow at Trader TV. Shawn, go find me everywhere. This is Trader TV Live. I'm coming home, and I'll see you soon. Ciao, everybody.